Welcome to Perspective and Practice. I'm your host, Rachel Saathoff, and today we have founder and president of Olive and Finch, Mary Nguyen. How are you, Mary?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, Mary, your story is incredibly inspiring. Growing up as the daughter of a Vietnamese refugee and making leaps from, investment banking to hospitality. Can you share a bit about your journey and kind of what inspired your career path?
Absolutely. I think that my journey's really been shaped by my parents' experience and me just kind of witnessing, them coming here. I think about it right now is that, when they came to the US as refugees with four kids and, my grandmother who, with no understanding of the English language and what they gave up at the age of 35 to come here to build a new life. Like, I think that has really shaped my journey.
Yeah.
They really came here with absolutely nothing and with determination. And I grew up watching them, right? Like they worked tirelessly to build a life for us. And that resilience, I think, has really become a big part of me. When I started in investment banking, it was really, it was kind of like that refugee experience where, your parents really instill in you, get a great education, get a great job. And from there, you have stability.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's what I did. I followed their advice. I went to college, I got a few degrees, and I went straight into investment banking and then traded commodities. And I had stability.
Yeah.
But I really felt like there was something missing. And, one of the things that I really gravitated towards was hospitality. I really found joy, and the way I expressed my love was through, creating amazing experiences and creating community. And one thing I see is like for me, my true passion really is hospitality because like dining together was how my family connected, right? It was how we showed love. And I think that that really kind of transcended for me. And I realized I wanted to bring that same feeling to others. So I took a leap of faith. I left finance and I started working in a lot of different restaurants just to learn as much as I could. And, I opened my first restaurant in 2005 and, and kind of similar to my parents, like not knowing really much, I just came in and learned as much as I could from just working in different restaurants, but opened my first restaurant fairly young. And Olive and Finch was our third concept that we opened, and we opened that in 2011. And I really, I built it from the ground up. And it's always been, it hasn't always been about just opening a restaurant. It's about creating a space where people can enjoy connections and they can enjoy community, but also they can enjoy real nourishing food that is made with intention and it's made with care. So, I mean, it's been a challenging journey, but I honestly wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah. That's incredible. Like your parents' like story and journey and you guys coming over here and just the leadership of them being willing to come to another country that they don't know the language, don't know anything about the culture, and just kind of having that hustler mentality to just kind of figure it out. Because most refugees that I know have that kind of hustler mentality of we're just going to figure it out and we're just, we've got this. And I think that's a very similar mindset of an entrepreneur is like, we just got to figure it out. We just got to adapt, change, shift, do these things to figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I mean, we see this, we've been in this country now almost 50 years, but you see the landscape now. We obviously we have a lot of challenges just within our country with immigration and refugees, but when you think about it, people who are fleeing
Yeah.
um, their homelands because of war or because of famine or persecution, they're just trying to grasp to survive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it really, it very much is a hustler mentality, right? Because you just have to make it work because, there really is an alternative.
Yeah. Yeah. And Like I just think so much about that and like how to compare that with entrepreneurship because so many immigrants that I know that come to America are such entrepreneurs by heart because they just have that like we just figure it out, we sell the next thing, we do this, we do that, and then really come back and have that cultural community, that dining over a meal to, just bring people together. So I love that. So you started at ground level in hospitality, working, multiple jobs at once. What drove you to push through such an intense learning curve in the restaurant industry?
I think in retrospect, one thing I think is I really thrive, you know, when presented with challenges. But I also know I've never been one to take shortcuts. So when I entered the restaurant industry, I knew that if I wanted to become an entrepreneur, if I wanted to run my own business one day, I needed to learn everything that I needed to in order to run that business. And I wanted to build something great. So I wanted to understand every aspect of running a business, whether that was a restaurant business or a cafe business. And I wanted to understand every aspect of it, and I wanted to have that experience firsthand. So I did. I worked multiple jobs. Literally would wake up 3 in the morning and then go to bed at like 11 o'clock every night. Did that for a year. Worked three different jobs. Worked a morning shift, an afternoon shift, and then a dinner shift at three different locations. And whether it was cooking or like serving tables or like washing rice or managing, it really wasn't about learning. Not only it was about learning the specific skills, but it's also like earning your place in the industry and understanding the experience, right? So I think from my perspective now, as I look back, the pace of being an entrepreneur, right? The problem solving, the energy of being an entrepreneur, it's fueled me. And I find joy in the chaos, but I also find a lot of pride in mastering the craft. So every long shift or every late night, it's reinforced by why I do this, right? I do this because I'm trying to create I'm creating a company. I'm creating opportunity. I am creating community. And it's a beautiful place where like food and hospitality can bring people together in so many ways and in very meaningful ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think you're a great example of an entrepreneur who is willing to do the dirtiest job or any job because, you got to make the business work.
Right.
And you just have that mentality of like, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do what needs to be done, um, to make the experience for our clients, to make the experience for my staff, to make the experience of the overall culture of the organization, be exactly what you've been trying to build. So when you first opened Olive and Finch in 2013, is that right?
Yeah.
The concept was different from a traditional dining model. What inspired this vision, and did you face any resistance when launching?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So when I first um started thinking about Olive and Finch, it was really an answer to what I felt was needed within the Denver dining space. When I wanted something that was chef driven, high quality, or scratch made in Denver around 2012, if you wanted that experience, you had to go to a white tablecloth, full service fine dining restaurant. And I just felt that dining out, you shouldn't have to spend a lot of money to eat well or have a lot of money to eat well. And I just don't think that those things are they shouldn't be related. So when I opened Olive and Finch in 2013, I wanted to challenge the idea that high quality chef driven food was only for special occasions at white tablecloth restaurants. And when you think about it, and I mean, in Denver, dining out was so different then. If you wanted something like that, it was very much a commitment in time, in diet, and in money. So it was a goal for me to create a place where you can come in, you can get great food that was chef driven, scratch made, that was real, but that was also accessible and affordable. And there was resistance. I mean, I guess they're not necessarily resistance. A lot of people didn't understand what we were trying to do. We had a lot of, we had other full service restaurants in Denver that were very well known, and everybody thought we were trying to open up a fast food restaurant. You
Yeah.
know, it's a counter style restaurant. You order at the counter and then we deliver the food to you. But everything that we do in the back of the house in the kitchen is like a full service fine dining restaurant. And nobody really understood it. They didn't think that Denver was ready. They thought that, oh, why are you opening up a fast food restaurant? But
Yeah.
my vision was pretty simple, right? I wanted to make nourishing, high quality food available to everyone, whether they had time to sit down, and have an experience, or if they needed something to go. And I felt that, truly, like, great food shouldn't be a luxury. And so really that is what we really believe at Olive and Finch, to this day, 12 years later. But yeah, definitely resistance. People thought, fast food. But the funny thing is that once they experienced it, they absolutely embraced it. And we opened December 3rd, 2013. We literally had a line out the door. And then, the next year we were awarded Best New Restaurant by like 5280, by the Western, by Zagat. Those are like the three major publications in Denver. And so that to me was really rewarding because we started to shift the conversation. And now when you look at the dining landscape, we have made great food accessible, not only because we've opened our own locations and we're growing across Metro Denver, but because we've given an opportunity for other chefs and other restaurant owners, other business owners to be able to, see our model and see that it's successful and, either pivot what they do or create another concept that's very similar. And to me, that's amazing because we're really changing the way people eat.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it because culture is changing so much in terms of how people dine. And, oftentimes, I find myself, on the East Coast wanting really good food, but I don't always have time to sit down. I don't always have time to drive to wherever it is. I don't always have time for, all of these things. So the fact that you kind of were innovative and you looked and said, like, what do people need? How can I meet those needs? Is incredible in kind of what you've done because you've really built multiple successful restaurant concepts and have been recognized as an innovative leader. What does innovation in hospitality mean to you?
I think innovation in hospitality is about anticipating needs before your guests even realize them. So it's not just about the food, right? It's about the entire experience, from how people order to how they feel when they walk through the door. So for me, it means rethinking what's possible and creating spaces that feel welcoming, that feel efficient, and that are intentional, right? So, for us, technology has played a really big role in how we innovate, from AI driven POS systems that truly streamline transactions and reduce wait times, to real time inventory tracking, that which really ultimately, like, it helps us manage our waste, it helps us optimize costs. We're always looking for ways to work smarter. So these tools don't replace hospitality.
Yeah.
I think people say, oh, okay, well, AI, and like, how is that going to replace the service industry? It's like, it's not going to replace hospitality.
Yeah.
What it's going to do is it's going to enhance it, right? And it's going to allow our team to focus on the things that matter, which is guest experience, and to try to take some things out of operations and really focus on community and focus on what's happening within the four walls.
Yes. No, I love that. I love that you're utilizing AI into your business and embracing that because, that's the big conversation right now is everyone's like, how are you implementing AI into your business? Like, change or, die as an organization sometimes because you're not able to keep up with what other organizations are doing. And yeah, it's not that we're we're taking away jobs. We're just changing how work is done.
Right.
So I absolutely love that you're kind of in the forefront of that innovation.
Yeah.
So many people assume the restaurant industry is purely about food, but there is also a significant business and leadership component to it. How do you balance creativity with business strategy?
I am incredibly thankful for my finance background because it's really served me well in balancing creativity with business strategy. So, a restaurant or a hospitality brand can have amazing food, amazing beverages, but an amazing ambiance. But really, without strong financial and operational foundations, it's not going to survive. And
Yeah,
so I approach every decision, whether it's menu development or staffing or expansion, I really try to approach it with creativity, but also with business discipline in mind. Because for me, the key is understanding that great food and smart business practices aren't at odds, right? They have to work together.
yeah,
So I can stay creative by constantly evolving our offerings and pushing culinary boundaries, right? But I can also rely on data and efficiency and financial discipline to ensure sustainability and to ensure sustainability within our sector. So at the end of the day, a successful restaurant isn't just about what's on the plate.
yeah,
It's really creating a strong, lasting business that can continue to serve the community.
yeah, absolutely. Because your company is quickly growing. How many locations do you guys have now?
It is. So right now we have five
Okay.
locations.
Yeah.
And we are opening up another five locations in the next 15 months, actually,
Wow.
with one location opening in a week. So, you know,
Congrats.
yeah. And so, so we have Olive Finch, which is it was the original concept that was, open to create chef-driven scratch-made food in an affordable setting. We also created Little Finch, which is our cafe, and that really kind of serves the cafe market, right? Because when you think about like cafes in this country, people think about coffee shops, but a cafe is so much more. When you really think about like a cafe, it's a lot more. It's not necessarily a coffee shop. It's a lot more than just a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And so we're really trying to introduce what like cafe culture is.
Yeah.
But we also have a third company, which is our wholesale operation. It's
Okay.
called Finch on the Fly, where we produce and distribute products. So, we do B2B and we service institutional clients. And,
Right.
one thing about that is that we're owning our supply and our distribution chain, right? And that, kind of going back to just like finance and really
Yeah.
understanding how you can merge the two, like that's given us such a competitive edge because it allows us to control costs, reduce waste, and find savings that others can't. So, that level of control ensures our consistency, it ensures our quality across all of our locations, and it keeps our operations really efficient.
Yeah. So what would you say, what leadership lessons have been crucial in preparing for these next levels of growth for you? Because you're about to double your size in like the next 15 months. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah, we are. And I've been really mindful of our growth and I've been really mindful of our sustainability. And, you know, as we have grown over the course of the last 11 years, I've learned that, one, growth comes with challenges, right? And the biggest leadership lesson is that you can't do it all yourself. You
Yeah.
know, and I think that for entrepreneurs, when you have your first restaurant, and again, and this kind of goes back to what you talk about from like the hustler mentality
Oh,
and refugee mindset as well, is that you have nothing else, right, except for this business, and you're going to make it as successful as you possibly can, so you're going to end up doing everything, right?
yeah.
Like it's like small business ownership,
Yeah.
where not only are you the cook, but you're the hostess and you're the server and you're the dishwasher. And so one thing I've learned over the course of the last 11 years is that, one, I can't do it all myself, right? And I think if anything, I have embraced that. I
Yeah.
have understood that, and I've been lucky that I understood that pretty early. And now I'm lucky even more so because I have the strongest team I've
Yeah.
ever had. I try to surround myself with people who are smarter than me and who know more than me, because I
Oh,
can't assume that I know everything, right? I'm one person, but as a group and as a community, we are so much better. So building a team, it's not just skilled. It's not just that skilled, but also building a team that shares my values, right?
yeah.
That has to be essential, because you have to learn to trust them, and you
Yeah.
have to learn to give them space to take on the leadership roles that you need them to, as we continue to grow. And I think for me also, like, another big takeaway is that adaptability is really everything, right? The hospitality industry can change in a flash, like,
Yeah.
we saw that with COVID. And for us, like, as we scale, we've had to pivot really fast, and we've had to address challenges head on. So leadership at this stage is all about finding that balance, right? Being confident when you're making decisions,
Yeah.
but also being humble enough to listen to those who have differing opinions, and also to be able to adapt quickly when needed, because you have to stay grounded. You have to stay grounded in your vision while you're always being open to the feedback and to all the new ideas.
One of the things that I really love about your company is how you treat your employees. Like you provide full benefits and equitable wages in the restaurant industry, where, a lot of people in that industry are living off tips and, definitely don't have benefits. Why is this important to you? And how has this impacted the culture of the team?
This has been important for me from when I started in hospitality, because I came from a very different background, right? I came from a very corporate environment where I had all of the benefits. And as I went into this industry, I saw that you know there weren't a lot of opportunities to grow, right, within the hospitality industry. And I wanted to change that. So from the beginning, I've wanted our company to be a place where people feel valued, and
Yeah.
that they're not just employees, they are individuals that really contribute to our success every single day.
Yeah.
Right. And I think one thing that's so important also in our industry is that it's hospitality. So, how can you expect your team to be hospitable, and to be happy serving and creating an environment where people want to come in and have great experiences if they're not happy,
Yeah.
if they're worried about a medical bill, or if they're worried
Yeah.
about paying the rent. So, for me, offering full benefits and equitable wages was a non-negotiable. And we started this in 2013. It was non-negotiable, because I truly believe in treating people, with respect and with dignity, and, giving them an opportunity to really grow in this really amazing industry,
Yeah.
and the one thing too is, like, this industry also really high turnover, and
Yeah.
typically, as you said, like, low wages, no benefits. But, I want to create a culture where people can build careers,
Yeah.
not just jobs. So, by providing, we'd have health, medical, dental, vision, 401k that we match 3% dollar for dollar. I wanted to provide benefits, fair pay, and we've really been able to attract and retain really talented, really dedicated individuals who truly care about what we're doing, right? And who are passionate about hospitality. It's created a more stable, more motivated team. And I think that translates directly into our quality of service and the experience our guests have. So from my perspective, it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
So, invest in your team, because they will invest back into your business.
Yeah. So you've shared in the past with me that you feel that employees are just important as customers. What strategies have you used to ensure um, that your employees understand that, the customers understand that, and leadership understands that?
Well, we invest in our people.
Yeah.
And it's not just by offering competitive wages and benefits, but it's by helping them develop their skills and to find their path within our company. So, if someone shows interest in management, we provide mentorship and leadership training. If they want to get involved in operations or culinary innovation, we help make that happen. So when people feel like they have a future, they're not just working for a paycheck, they're going to want to work to build something bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious on advice from you for other people that are in the restaurant industry, thinking about getting in the industry, whether they're trying to be a business owner or just trying to just be an employee in there. So you've changed career paths completely, moving from finance to hospitality. What advice would you give someone that might be looking to do the same, make a bold shift like you?
Oh, geez. I would say, you know, making a career shift, especially one as major as mine, it can be really intimidating. But my advice would be trust your instincts and
Yeah.
stay committed to your vision. The first thing I'd say also is don't be afraid to start from the bottom, right? From my experience, and I'm very, very thankful that I followed this path was to just really roll up my sleeves and learn the ropes and work as many jobs and whatever positions you possibly could, even though it's not glamorous. But those experiences really taught me so much about the industry and so much about myself. And I would say honestly, like, don't be afraid to lean into your unique background and skills, right? My experience in finance really helped me in ways I didn't expect,
Yeah.
especially now when I'm running the business side of the hospitality company. So, whether it's problem solving or managing budgets or seeing the bigger picture, like those skills translate. And, lastly, I would say, if you're going to bet on anything, bet on yourself,
Yes.
right?
Yes. I love it. I love it. So spoken about the importance of surrounding yourself with experienced people and being open to learn. How can aspiring leaders apply this principle in their own careers?
I think surrounding yourself with experienced people and being open to learning is key. That's key to growing, not just in your career, but just in life.
Yeah.
But I think it's important that leaders know that, like, they don't have all the answers,
Yeah.
right? In fact, you're going to learn so much more just by listening
Yeah.
and asking the right questions. So,
Yeah.
find mentors who are willing to share their stories, whether they're good or they're bad, and learn from what they've gone through.
Yeah.
It's about building a team that brings different strengths to the table. And as a leader, you don't have to do it all yourself because
Yeah.
the best teams are made up of people who complement each other.
Yeah.
So lean into that
Yeah.
and really give people the opportunity to take some ownership. And above all, I mean, I think that humbleness is a really amazing trait. And, so stay humble and keep that curiosity alive. Don't get too comfortable. Don't
Yeah.
get too complacent, because there really is always something to learn, because the best leaders are the ones who never stop evolving.
Yes. I love it. So looking back, what's one lesson you wish you'd known before you started Olive and Finch?
So, I think looking back, one lesson I wish I'd known is that you can't do everything yourself. I was so focused on handling every detail and trying to make everything perfect, but
Yes.
I quickly learned that building a strong team and delegating those responsibilities is, I would say, more important, right? Because you can't grow sustainably if you're trying to carry the weight of it all.
Yeah.
So let go of having that need for control and trust in the people around you, because, it's definitely something that I wish I had embraced a lot earlier.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, you have to let go of perfection, I
Yeah.
think, and just trust in your people. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Mary, for sharing your journey and your leadership insights. It's been a pleasure hearing about your experience and lessons you've learned along the way. And for our viewers, if you've enjoyed hearing Mary's insights today, don't miss other Break the Norm leadership interviews. And if you're interested in learning more about Break the Norm leadership, and how we can help you develop your greatest asset, your people, click the link below. Thanks so much, Mary, for your time today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.